Every time you walk into the gym, you probably think you're building muscle. You're not. In fact, while you're lifting weights, your muscles are actually moving in the opposite direction. So why does everyone say the gym is where muscle is built? Because almost everyone is focusing on the wrong part of the story. Today we're going to uncover one of the biggest misunderstandings in fitness. By the end of this video, you'll see why the strongest people in the world don't just know how to train, they know how to recover. And once you understand what really happens after your workout, you may never think about muscle growth the same way again. Let's start with a simple question. Imagine two identical twins. They follow the exact same workout, same exercises, same weights, same number of sets, same effort. They leave the gym looking equally exhausted. 6 months later, one has built an impressive amount of muscle. The other barely looks different. How is that possible? If the workout was identical, shouldn't the results be identical too? Most people would blame genetics, and genetics definitely matter, but they're not the whole story. Because something much more important happens after both twins walk out of the gym, and that's where the real mystery begins. Here's something that surprises almost everyone. Your muscles don't grow while you're lifting weights. They can't. Think about what happens during a hard set of squats. Your breathing gets heavier. Your heart races, your muscles burn. By the last rep, your strength starts disappearing. If muscle were growing at that exact moment, why are you getting weaker instead of stronger? Because lifting weights isn't a construction project, it's a controlled destruction. Imagine a city planning to build a stronger bridge. The first step isn't pouring new concrete. The first step is shutting the bridge down and tearing out the weak sections. Only after that can construction begin. Your workout works the same way. Every challenging set creates tiny amounts of damage inside your muscle fibers. It also drains energy, creates fatigue, and disrupts your body's normal balance. In other words, your workout doesn't build the muscle. It gives your body a reason to build it later. That sounds strange, so let's dig deeper. Scientists have known for years that resistance training increases something called muscle protein synthesis. Don't worry about the complicated name. Think of it as your body's repair and construction crew. Proteins are the building materials your muscles use. Muscle protein synthesis is the process of assembling those materials into stronger muscle fibers. Here's the interesting part. That process doesn't peak while you're lifting. It rises after your workout, sometimes for an entire day, sometimes even longer if you're new to training. So if the repair crew shows up after the workout, have we solved the mystery? Not quite. Because another question immediately appears. If your body starts repairing muscle after every workout, why doesn't everyone keep growing forever? Why do beginners stop making fast progress? Why do plateaus happen? Clearly, recovery is more complicated than simply waiting. Let's go back to our twins. After the workout, twin A goes home. They eat enough protein, they get enough calories, they sleep 8 hours. Their body has everything it needs. Twin B skips dinner, sleeps 5 hours, feels stressed all week, repeats the cycle over and over. Now both bodies receive the same blueprint from the workout, but only one has enough workers, bricks, and time to finish the building. It's like hiring a construction company and then refusing to deliver cement. The blueprint exists, the workers are ready, but the building never gets finished. This is where many people accidentally sabotage themselves. They obsess over finding the perfect workout, the perfect exercise, the perfect number of sets. Meanwhile, they ignore the part where muscles are actually rebuilt. Now here's another twist. If recovery builds muscle, shouldn't the best strategy be training less? Maybe one workout every 2 weeks? Plenty of recovery, maximum muscle. Sounds logical, except it doesn't work. Why? Because recovery doesn't create muscle out of nowhere. It only responds to a signal. Imagine someone hired to renovate houses. If nobody gives them another job, eventually they stop working. Your body is the same. Without a reason to adapt, it stops spending energy building stronger muscles. Muscle is expensive. It takes calories, protein, energy. Your body doesn't waste those resources unless it believes stronger muscles will actually be useful. That's why training matters. It sends the message. Recovery carries out the work. One without the other doesn't get you very far. Now let's make the mystery even bigger. What is the single most powerful recovery tool? Most people immediately think of protein, and protein is incredibly important. After all, muscles are largely made from protein. Without enough dietary protein, muscle protein synthesis can't do its job efficiently. Research consistently shows that people who resistance train generally benefit from consuming enough high-quality protein spread across the day. But here's something fascinating. Protein isn't the boss. Sleep might be. Imagine trying to build a skyscraper while the construction crew only works half their shift. Progress slows dramatically. Your body behaves similarly. During sleep, your body performs many repair processes. Growth hormone is released primarily during deep sleep, although muscle growth itself depends on a combination of hormones, nutrition, and training, not growth hormone alone. Studies have shown that sleep restriction can reduce recovery, impair performance, increase perceived effort, and create a hormonal environment that's less favorable for muscle building. In one study, healthy young men who experienced severe sleep restriction showed reductions in muscle protein synthesis rates. Think about that for a second. You can have the perfect workout, the perfect protein shake, the perfect supplements, but if recovery keeps getting interrupted, you're constantly making construction harder than it needs to be. And speaking of supplements, let's clear up another huge misunderstanding. People often search for the best supplement for muscle growth. Creatine, protein powder, BCAAs, pre-workouts. But ask yourself this, would you pour premium fuel into a car with no engine? Supplements can help in specific situations. Creatine is one of the most well-researched supplements and consistently improves strength and training performance for many people. Protein powder is simply a convenient way to reach your daily protein target, but neither one replaces recovery. They support it, they don't create it. Now let's return to something we mentioned earlier, plateaus. Almost everyone experiences them. At first, you gain muscle quickly. Then, progress slows. Eventually, it feels like nothing works anymore. Most people respond by training harder. More sets, more exercises, more days, longer workouts. But what if that's exactly the wrong response? Imagine digging a hole. Each workout is another shovel full of dirt. Recovery fills the hole back in and builds a small hill above it. That's adaptation. But what happens if you keep digging faster than you can refill? Eventually, the hole only gets deeper. That's what excessive training with insufficient recovery can feel like. Your body is constantly trying to catch up. Performance stalls, motivation drops, fatigue builds. This doesn't necessarily mean someone has true overtraining syndrome, that's relatively rare, but many people experience what's called overreaching, where recovery temporarily can't keep pace with training demands. Now here's one of the biggest surprises. Elite athletes often recover better than beginners, not because they're superhuman, because they've learned that recovery isn't something you earn after working hard. It's part of the training itself. They plan sleep, they plan nutrition, they manage training volume, they adjust intensity. Recovery isn't what happens after training, recovery is part of training. Now let's return to our original question. If muscle isn't built during the workout, what exactly is happening while you lift? Think of every workout as a conversation with your body. Every repetition says the same thing. This isn't enough anymore. Your body listens. Then it asks a simple question. Should I adapt? If the answer is yes, and enough food, protein, sleep, and recovery are available, your body starts rebuilding. Not because it wants bigger muscles, because it wants to survive future challenges more efficiently. Muscle growth is an adaptation, not a reward. That single idea explains so much. Why progressive overload matters, why recovery matters, why nutrition matters, why consistency matters. They're all connected. Now let's return to our identical twins. The difference wasn't who trained harder. It wasn't who suffered more. It wasn't who left the gym feeling the most exhausted. The difference was who allowed the blueprint to become reality. One kept interrupting construction. The other let the builders finish their work. And that's the biggest lesson most people never hear. Fitness culture celebrates the grind, the pain, the sweat, the exhaustion. Those things make great motivational videos, but your muscles don't care how motivated you felt. They don't know whether your workout was posted on social media. They don't know whether your friends thought it was intense. They only know two things. Did you give me a reason to grow? And did you give me the resources to do it? Everything else is noise. So the next time you leave the gym, remember this. The workout wasn't the finish line. It was the first domino. The real transformation begins after you rack the weights. Every meal, every hour of sleep, every recovery decision, every day between workouts. That's where your body quietly decides whether today's effort becomes tomorrow's muscle. The gym starts the story. Recovery finishes it.